Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. I hope all of you are doing well. You are preparing well and putting your best possible effort for the upcoming prelims examination. It is very important that you practice questions on a daily basis. You practice both MCQs and answer writing for the mains examination. This all will help you to achieve the success at the earliest. Now, this is a video session on daily news and editorial analysis dated 18th of October. I'll be covering the important news from the Hindu and Indian Express that would be relevant for both civil services prelims and mains examination. And if you're appearing for state PCS or other government examination, the entire session is going to help. So without any further ado, let's get started. And before I begin the session, I would just like to give you the highlight of the news that I'll be discussing with you for today. For today, the first important news is about the Indian maritime economy. Recently, Prime Minister has made a video conference to the summit. We'll see the detail how significant the roadmap has been decided. Now, in continuation to this only, we'll talk about IEMC corridor, which was proposed during the G20. We'll see the details how it is going to significantly contribute in the economy and create more jobs. The third important news is about the ISRO's target to set an interplanetary missions by 2040. We'll see the details to this as well. The second last talks about the curve that has been there by India in terms of the import of laptops और जिसको लेकर के US और China ने concern raise की. And we'll conclude this session with editorial that talks about women reservation, its ethical issues and dimension, and how the women representation need to be taken into account. So these are the important news on the discussion for today. Let's get started and discuss one by one. So the first news is about the Global Maritime Indian Summit 2023, something very important. This conference or this summit is being taken place in Mumbai, right? और खास करके अगर बात करें इस collaborations की, इस efforts की, the Prime Minister has actually inaugurated the third edition. This is the third edition of the Global Maritime India Summit, which is actually being started, right? 17th से 19th ये session चलनी है. And important collaborations from the member countries will also be there. This will call for a wholesome development and a roadmap for the global maritime sectors. Now, what is a blueprint that has been brought in by the government of India? Not only by the government, but और भी जो stakeholders हैं, उनके ध्यान में रखते हुए government ने India Blue Economy के लिए एक blueprint बनाई है. So the session is going to deliberate on some of the important issues. वो issues कौन-कौन से होंगे? First talks about the future of ports. तो ports के जो future issues हैं, that is one. The second is decarbonization. This is specifically with regards to the environmental protection and sustainability of environment. Third important dimension, or you can say the roadmap, is about the coastal shipping and inland water transportation, which is again significant for India. We have a potential in the water inland transportation as well. Shipping, repairing and recycling is again a chain of businesses that has been emerged from the global economy to Indian economy. Maritime clusters and tourism boost. Maritime के जो tourism है उसमें भी boost की जाएगी. The states like Kerala, Tamil Nadu has always been putting their best efforts to ensure that they are working towards the maritime tourism. और maritime clusters को ध्यान में रखते हुए जो national खास करके logistic policies government ने release की है 2020, this is also somewhere inclined to get the idea of maritime clusters and even to make it further developed. Now, इस summit में जो participations या participant countries की बात करें, we'll see the participation from European countries, African countries, South America and Asia. This include the Central Asia, Middle East and BIMSTEC region. तो ये कुछ important countries हैं जिनकी participations will be there in this conference or in this summit. The Prime Minister has laid the foundation of two Nautica Al-Weather deep draft terminal जो कि actually help करेगी, and this is at the Deen Dayal port in Gujarat. So government at this point of time, at this juncture, is definitely looking to boost Indian maritime sector. अगर बात करें इंडिया के maritime sector की, we definitely have a potential. Maritime में इंडिया की काफ़ी ज़्यादा potential है, and these potential need to be recognized at right place and right. और क्या क्या इसके significant proportionally benefits होंगे अगर Indian maritime sectors की बात करें. You can see the benefits of the blue economy that is going to have. So use of smart shipping and lesser impact on the environment, because the pollution level which is there is again less in the map. It called for an inclusive improvement of the life. How? Because the jobs will be created and ultimately GDP में भी contributions होंगे. Increase harness of the renewable energy, as there is less pollutions which is there in the environment. तो renewable energies में भी काफ़ी ज़्यादा इसके significant potential है. Take actions against illegal fishing, tackles maritime litters and ocean pollutions, protect coastal communities and impact for the climate change, create jobs, reduce poverty and end hunger, and conserve the marine life and oceans. So these are the significant benefits of the blue economy. And moving ahead with the second news of the day, that is India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor. This is in the continuation of the summit that is there. So Prime Minister, while addressing the Global Maritime Summit, he has also said that the India Middle East Economic Corridor, in short, we call it IMEC, this is going to be very significant, where it will reduce the business cost, increase the logistic efficiency, and create a large number of jobs. So this platform was actually created during the G20 meeting which took place in India, and India continued to be the G20 member till November 2023. तो काफ़ी significant steps लिए गए हैं IMEC platform या खास करके अगर बात करें कॉरिडोर के थ्रू. Now, first I'll show you a map so that it gives you a better understanding how does it work. So India, Middle East, European corridors की अगर बात करें, it has countries like Greece, Israel, then we have Saudi Arabia at the three sides, and we have UAE and Mumbai. So these countries where both the sea route and the rail route will be explored, and this has a huge potential for the member country as well. Now, India, Middle East, European corridors की अगर बात करें, as I've told you, it was signed during the G20 summit in New Delhi, and it holds a significant in part of geopolitical and economic implications. तो geopolitical point of view से जितने भी member countries हैं, the participating country will be benefited, and on the economical ground there will be a mutual benefit to all the member countries, and ultimately India will have a larger share, खास करके और भी countries हैं जिनके share contributely बढ़ेंगे. 8 signatory countries हैं that include India, United States, Saudi Arabia, UAE, and European Union, Italy, France, and Germany. These are the member countries, the signatory country. A proposed India, Middle East, European corridors की अगर बात करें, this will create a port road rail connectivity, जिसमें port के साथ साथ this will have an inclusion of port plus rail. This will have an inclusion of both to link the India and Gulf countries with the European countries, and this is counter to China की अगर बात करें, एक important initiatives जो कि BRI है उसके लिए काउंटर है, काफ़ी इंपॉर्टेंट और सिग्निफिकेंट कॉरिडोर. Now significant क्या है इस प्रोजेक्ट में and how it is going to help? See, first it will call for reduce the business cost which is there. It will increase the logistic efficiency जो कि इंडिया के national logistic policies के थ्रू भी हेल्प होंगी. Reduce the impact on the environment because it will call for the sustainable environment to a larger extent. It will help in the huge number of jobs because the intermediary jobs that will be created will be ultimately helping the aspirants or the sectors specific individual doing and giving their best. Moving ahead with other news, that is Center has asked the ISRO to land man on moon by 2040. This is something which India is actually setting a roadmap. This is a roadmap for the sector of the scientific sector or the space sector. प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने डायरेक्ट किया है इसरो के मैनेजमेंट को या फिर इसरो के पूरे होल सोल चेयरमैन को दैट दे नीड टू एम वेयर द मैन नीड टू बी देयर इन द मून एंड एस्टैब्लिश दिस बाय 2030. और इंडियन स्पेस स्टेशन जिसे ISS भी कहेंगे उसकी एस्टैब्लिशमेंट की भी बात की है बाय 2030. राइट नाउ वी हैव टू सी हाउ द प्रोग्रेस विल बी मेड बिकॉज गवर्नमेंट हैज़ कम अप विद अ डिटेल्ड गाइडलाइन और उसको लेकर के इसरो ने भी काफ़ी हद तक पॉजिटिवली रिस्पॉन्ड दिया. Now, what is a roadmap for the future? So first, there will be future moon missions that will be there. Abhi Gaganyaan is the one which is there, right? Then the constructions of the new launch pad will be there and setting up of human-centric laboratories. As of now, we are sending robots. अभी फिलहाल में robots को use किया जा रहा है and further ISRO will be looking forward for the man missions. ISRO flight, which is the first space flight for Gaganyaan, is scheduled for 21st of October. The mission will demonstrate India's ability to send manned space missions. The upcoming test vehicle development flight plays a pivotal role in India's preparations. इसके साथ साथ और भी जो टेस्ट डेवलपमेंट फ्लाइट्स है वो भी इंडिया ने डेवलप किए हैं रीयूजेबल फ्लाइट्स को भी. Now, next generation launchpad की अगर बात करें, we have next generation launchpad. The Department of Space has actually come up with the operations जहाँ पे ISRO ने actually collaborate किया with the Department of Science and Technology and they've developed the next level generation vehicle, which is also known as NGLV. Now, this will be equipped with undertaking the return of the missions and new launch pad will also be there. Human-centric laboratories और associated technologies इसमें मदद करेंगे. The Prime Minister has also called for Indian scientists जहाँ पे वो interplanetary missions के लिए आगे बढ़े and the Mars lander and other solar mission which is actually there. India ने solar mission में भी काफ़ी progress की है. We have actually made the moon mission also and the Mars which is there. So ये कुछ important progress है जो इंडिया ने की. Now launch vehicles की अगर बात करें इसके अलावा we have lot other launch vehicles which is as of now in operation. So we have SLV which is there and we have ASLV. We have PSLV, GSLV and GSLV Mark 3. तो ये कुछ launch vehicles हैं जो इंडिया की sole achievements हैं. Now moving ahead with other news, that is India's PC import to curb and they have drawn the concern for the country like United States, China, South Korea. इन्होंने concern raise की है इंडिया के इस decision को और जो import में curb लगाया है इंडिया ने which will be again impacting for the part of laptop specifically. जो लैपटॉप्स हैं उनमें कर्व लगाने की बात की है बिकॉज द सर्टेन रिस्ट्रिक्शन दैट इंडिया इज एक्चुअली कमिंग अप विद. तो देखना होगा ये किस तरह से ग्लोबल मार्केट को इम्पैक्ट करे. Now, restrictions on the import. The central government has placed restriction on the import of laptops, specifically laptop, tablets और computers जो होंगे immediate effect से. Ministry of Commerce ने इसके लिए notification release की थी August 3rd को. August 3rd 3rd of August 2023 को ये रिलीज की गई है. राइट, जस्ट टू गिव यू द करेक्ट वन, दिस इज August 3, 2023, राइट. एंड इट हैज एडेड द इंपोर्ट ड्यूटी जहाँ पे वैलिड लाइसेंस खास करके जो इंपोर्टर्स हैं उनको अलाउ किया जाएगा एंड देयर विल बी सर्टेन रिस्ट्रिक्शंस दैट विल बी देयर ऑन द नंबर ऑफ कैप. The entity or the company holding laptops and the computer for the sale in India will be permitted to go through the license. Notification इसके में खास करके अगर जो नोडल बॉडी की बात करें मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ कॉमर्स के अंदर, देयर आर द डायरेक्टर जनरल ऑफ फॉरेन ट्रेड, DGFT जिसे कहते हैं. They are actually controlling the part of rules. They are actually mandating that how things will be processed. Restrictions have been imposed under the SN code 8471 to oversee the category of electronic gadgets. I'll tell you what is SSCN code is. उससे पहले देखते हैं लैपटॉप के इंपोर्ट्स की अगर बात करें हाउ द थिंग्स हैज बीन वर्किंग और इसमें क्या प्रोग्रेस रही है. सो 2018-19 5.2 के आसपास दीज नंबर्स आते हैं. देन फॉर 1920 5.4, then 7.2, 10.4 and 8.8. So these are the total part of restrictions import लैपटॉप के खास करके टोटल कॉस्टिंग की अगर बात करें रिस्पेक्टेड आइटम्स में it will be 8.8 billion for the financial year 2023. Now about the HSN code, जिसे Harmonized System Code Nomenclatures भी कहते हैं, it is classified as system and used to identify the product for the taxation purposes. Like you buy any product, you get some, there's a code that is there, that is called as barcode. तो यहाँ पे barcode होती है, उसी तरह से HSN code होती है जो कि identify करने में मदद करती है taxations में. These data processing machines are classified under HSN code 8471. And these code is used to identify and design the performing data and processing task. So there's a specific code which is designed for the sector and the industry which actually help government to collect the data for them. Now क्या reason है इस तरह के restrictions के पहले? Basically first and foremost government want this PLI scheme which is there, the production link incentive scheme, उसको बढ़ावा मिले और इंडिया में IT hardware domestically ज़्यादा manufactures. The last day to apply for the production link incentive scheme was actually 30. The government has curtailed the bound shipment for China and Korea. Further, the government has announced कि इसकी जो impact है वो bulk companies पे होंगी that they are sending import duty से कुछ चीज़ों में गिरावट भी देखी जाएगी. Tech giants like Apple and other Microsoft, they will have their laptop in India but subject to certain rules and restrictions that is imposed by the recent government rules. Now, moving ahead with the editorial for the day that talks about with string attached. I mean, this is a title. The entire editorial focuses on women empowerment. So what I'll be discussing through this editorial, we'll see the background first, advantages क्या क्या होंगे reservations के, and we'll see the conclusion. So recently, Parliament has actually passed the Women Reservation Bill 128th Constitutional Amendment Act को पास की गई है, जिसमें 1/3 of women reservations की बात की गई है, specifically in the लोक सभा and the state legislative assembly. पंचायत में पहले से ही एक्चुअल में पंचायत and the other village level जहाँ पे 73 and 74 Amendment Act के थ्रू reservations provide की गई. Currently, the female participation is only at 15%. अगर इसे दूसरे अफ्रीकन कंट्री से कंपेयर करें, वी आर एट द लेसर साइड. The latest Bihar survey highlight the factor that remains invisible for the women reservations, जहाँ पे कास्ट को लेकर के सिग्निफिकेंट कोटा विद इन कोटा के पोजीशंस में विमेन की एक्चुअल रिप्रेजेंटेशंस कम आकी गई है या कम देखी गई. Now, background की अगर बात करें, we have seen that the women reservations in parliament was actually introduced in 1996. This was the first time when it was actually conceptualized, जहाँ पे forum पे discussion हुई. देवगौड़ा की government थी, United Front government, and it lapsed in 2014 after the dissolutions of the Lok Sabha. The reservation for the women in the Constituent Assembly was actually rejected by women. This is something which is very interesting. Women representations ने कहा था कि इसकी ज़रूरत नहीं है because it will underestimate the strength of women to compete as an equals, because they want that women is as par as men and they can compete with men in terms of every sector. They don't need extra privilege, right? Now, in 1974, what has happened that the Committee on the Status for Women has considered the same question, but finally CSWI, that is the Committee on Status for Women in India, has majority decided to uphold the position of the Constituent Assembly and rejected the reservation for women. तो उन्होंने जो Constituent Assembly में डिबेट थी कि women are as equal as men, उस चीज को, उस लॉजिक को आगे बढ़ाया और वुमेन रिजर्वेशंस की कंटिन्यूएशन की बात नहीं की थी. सो दिस इज अ बेसिक बैकग्राउंड. नाउ क्या एडवांटेजेस है विमेन के रिजर्वेशंस में? सो एन इमीडिएट रिजर्वेशन ऑफ 1/3 which will be there at the Lok Sabha and the state legislative assembly will provide benefit to the women who is already there in the cultural and political capital, और जिनको इलेक्शंस में काफ़ी हद तक मदद मिलेगी. सी इट्स नॉट ओनली फॉर अ स्पेसिफिक ग्रुप, बट द मेन स्ट्रीम women will have a more representation. The experience for the reservations in the पंचायती राज बेसिकली 1992 में जब अमेंडमेंट लाई गई थी थ्रू 73 and 74 अमेंडमेंट एक्ट, तो उस समय भी काफ़ी ज़्यादा स्ट्रेंथ की कोशिश की गई विमेन पार्टिसिपेशन को. एंड इट सीक्स सडन पर्सनलाइजेशन आफ्टर 27 ईयर डाउन द लाइन. 27 ईयर के बाद इस तरह की पहल हुई है. I mean, it can be a political stunt for the political parties, but again, we have to see the best part of it. जो positive aspects हमें उसे देखना है. Definitely, the women representation is essentially required and the need of the hour. Now, to conclude the fact, I mean, there are 3 essential and non-negotiable concepts that has to go. The basis of women political empowerment has to be there. Gender equality बहुत ही अहम मुद्दा है इंडिया में. And right for women to realize the full potential, right to women to have self-representation and self-determinations will something definitely call for more motivation. जहाँ पे जो reservations दी जा रही हैं, this will not only help the marginalized section, but the mainstream people will also be ensuring that उनकी representation लोक सभा और state assemblies में भी हो. India urgently need to feminize the politics to boost the number of women representations, and it involve women participation in decision making. How decision making? बिकॉज जो पॉलिसीज़ हैं, जो लॉज हैं, पॉलिसी मेकिंग में विमेन की पार्टिसिपेशन काफ़ी इंपॉर्टेंट है. दे विल हैव अ पावर शेयरिंग, रनिंग द पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज, होल्डिंग पॉलिटिकल ऑफिस, फॉर्मुलेटिंग पॉलिसीज एट ऑल लेवल ऑफ गवर्नेंस. बाय ऑल लेवल ऑफ गवर्नेंस आई मीन फ्रॉम पंचायत till the state level, then the center level, right, at the topmost level. So these hierarchy will accordingly work. So this is how the things will put in place, and women will have a right place at the right time, at the right juncture, where India definitely require the women participation to a larger extent. Now, moving ahead with the answers and discussion for yesterday. जो पहला सवाल है कल का, उसके करेक्ट ऑप्शन है बी. मैंने आपसे पूछा था काउंटिंग रॉकेट्स के बारे में. द फर्स्ट ऑप्शन इज करेक्ट, that these are not designated to achieve the orbit of the Earth. Second statement is correct, that the sounding rocket are scientific instrument, right? They are known as payload in the space. The third statement is correct है, that sounding rockets are relatively short-lived, typically for few minutes. तो आपने क्या correct option mark किया है, आप check करें, and you can have the correct explanation from it. The second question, again the statement B is correct. Statement 1 is main correct hai. ESCP primarily focus on economic and social development of non-political and security issues. The statement 2 is correct that headquarter of ESP is located in Bangkok in Thailand. तो इस तरह के सवाल के प्रैक्टिस रिविजन से आपको बहुत हद तक मदद मिल रही है. Now, today's MCQ for practice. The first question is about the Javan rhino. This is currently distributed to the limited several southeastern countries, including Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, and Myanmar. Javan rhinos are similar in size as compared to African counterpart, and Javan rhino are predominantly nocturnal. Right? So you have to check the correct option. In तीनों में कौन से option correct है? Whether A is correct, B is correct, C is correct, or D is correct. Accordingly, आप अपने आंसर हमें comment section में जरूर बताएं. Second question for the day is about the Asia Pacific Institute for the Broadcasting Development. It is hosted by the government of Malaysia. Asia Pacific Broadcasting founding organization of the institute violating the member for general conference. So check out for the correct option, write and participate your correct answer in the comment section down below. आपकी participation काफी important है because the question that is there will definitely help you in the upcoming prelims examination. This was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis followed by the MCQ questions. अगर आपके कोई और सवाल हैं, कोई सुझाव हैं, if you have any other queries, you can definitely write to us. We'll be more than happy to assist you. कोई भी programs, test series, courses के लिए अगर आपको कोई जानकारी चाहिए, you can directly reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching.